Elmo is one of the most iconic fictional characters to ever exist. He's the main character on his own show, Sesame Street, and has appeared in many other types of media. For example, he became the fad toy Tickle Me Elmo and starred in many of his own video games. However, out of all the games that exist in the Elmo franchise, one stood above the rest. This game was called Elmo's ABCs and was released in 1999, over 2 decades ago. But even though this game has been out for over 2 decades, the history of this game's speedruns has only taken off in the past 2 years, most of which taking place over the course of 2 days. Let's see just how good people can get at beating Elmo's ABCs. For those unaware of how the game works, Elmo's ABCs is a puzzle game that requires the player to traverse through 6 stages, each being a step above the last. I'm going to be talking about the any percent category of this game, where runners only have to play each stage once to progress to the next stage, unlike in the 100% category, where the runner must complete each stage multiple times. This game revolves around Elmo, who juggles 6 balls, each with his own corresponding letter, in a clockwise direction. The player is required to complete the given task using these juggled letters. The first task has you accurately matching the letter that is displayed at the bottom of the screen with a revolving letter in the middle. The second task requires you to fill in the missing letter after being given the first 2 with the last 2 letters. The first recorded speedrun was posted on YouTube on January 15, 2015 by a runner named Dugong, finishing the game in 21 minutes and 26 seconds. This run was not anything special, but showed some attempt at optimization. You can see some of his own self-created strategies throughout the run, such as when he tries to pick up the ball on the earliest frame possible. While the idea for a fast time is clear in this run, it was far from optimal. One thing to note is that he completes each stage 3 times, which drastically increases his overall time. The speedrunning community for Elmo's ABCs was almost non-existent at this point, but out of nowhere, almost exactly 3 years later, things changed forever. On January 15, 2018, a runner by the name of Slimymine posted the first recorded run on Speedrun.com with a time of 7 minutes and 26 seconds. The footage of this run is not available. However, it is safe to assume that Slimymine had achieved this time by finishing each stage once, instead of 3 times like Dugong. After this run, he discovered something huge. The next day, Slimymine posted a guide titled General Tricks and Tips. Inside this post, he shared his discovery of the first time save of the run, being the revolutionary mechanic officially known as the cutscene skip. There are 3 cutscenes in the game, with only 2 of them appearing in the run. The first cutscene shows Elmo walking to the carnival, which appears when the player first starts the level. The other 2 cutscenes are played when Elmo completes one stage, and when he finishes all the stages in one level. Since this is the any percent category, we never actually finish the entire level, thus, we never see the last cutscene and only come across the first 2. We see these cutscenes before each of the 6 levels, bringing the total amount of cutscenes we see in this run up to 12. Normally these cutscenes take about 10 seconds each. However, if we press the start button during a cutscene, the cutscene is skipped, progressing to the next stage immediately. Using the cutscene skip, the runner known as Purple RTA lowered the record to 4:55. This run was the turning point in the Elmo's ABC speedrunning community because other runners started to compete using these newfound mechanics as well. The record was then broken with the 4:36 by a player named Bruno16, who optimized the run even further with faster cutscene skips. On the same day, a new discovery was made that would change the category forever. A runner by the name of Darkishstar became the founder of the largest known time save in Elmo's ABC speedrunning history. This is the mechanic known as the mashing strat.
Other side of the wheel. There has to be like a way to glitch this game. Oh, that's how you speed up. Dude, I think I just found the hacks, man.
By rapidly mashing right, the animation of the ball speeds up, effectively saving minutes from the run. Darkishstar finished the run with a time of 4 minutes and 28 seconds, however he only used this mechanic late in the run. With this newfound mechanic, the following day was more hectic than ever before.
So it turns out if you actually either mash or hold the keys, I don't know, it goes a lot faster. I don't know why. But it does. The guy that submitted that was right.
Bruno16 started the day off with a 317, being the first run to use the mechanic the entire way through. Despite achieving the world record, his run was far from perfect.
I don't know. No, it's not this. It's probably. It's Zan? I don't know. It is. No, it's not. Jan. It's Jan? Oh my god.
On the last stage, Bruno had to finish the word ban, yet he failed to recognize the word. This prompted in him missing the B on the first rotation, and chose 3 wrong letters right after, overall costing him 24 seconds. Because of his mistakes, his record was broken shortly after. Slimymine returned with the run utilizing all the new strategies, solidifying himself with the 254. Not long after, Darkishstar was able to use his discovery to reclaim his record with a 249. Until now, I've neglected to talk about one thing, known as RNG. RNG is also known as Random Number Generator, which is a term that essentially means luck. Throughout this run, the positions of the balls are random, so the chance of an optimal run is always reliant on chance. The less you need to rotate the balls, the faster you can finish the level. Therefore, at a certain point, the perfect run is dependent on luck. Because of this, runners kept grinding away, trying to improve their times, when finally, Bruno was back, and he was here to stay. Bruno's 237 was almost perfect. The RNG that Bruno received, along with his masterful execution, made the run a spectacle to watch. He executed each level almost flawlessly, and left the record shattered. This was the result of all the hard work and discoveries that have been found at this point. Needless to say, without any new discoveries, this record would be the one to last. But then, without any warning, the competition that was just there vanished. For the next year, the community went silent. There were no runs, no discussions, nothing. The community had become a shell of its previous self. Maybe this was because the game was thought to be too optimized, with no new tricks that could be implemented, or maybe it was because of the insane RNG that was required to surpass Bruno's 237. But to tackle both of these possibilities, a new player took the world by surprise. On January 9th, 2019, a runner known as Tobier submitted a post to the Elmo's ABC's guides that was titled Proof of Concept. In this post, Tobier explained that by using a task or a tool-assisted speedrun, he was able to find the frame data to explain previous discoveries, and on top of that, find new ones. First, he was able to explain the inner workings of the mashing strat. Tobier found that the speed of the ball rotation could only be increased a total of 6 times. To quote his post, a full revolution of the balls rotating has 256 frames of animation, and 9 different speeds that the balls can rotate. The default speed is set at level 4, with the cats being level 1 and 9. Pressing the right button increments the speed level by 1, while pressing the left button decrements it by 1. Imagine the speed on the balls as the settings on a fan. Pressing once on the right button makes the balls rotate at a constant higher speed. The second discovery that he made was that where you pick up the ball matters. Prior to this boast, runners would try to pick up the ball in the earliest frame possible, but by using his task, Tobier discovered that it was actually faster to pick up the first 2 balls on each level on the latest frame. He displays this concept in his video. As you can see, it takes a few extra frames to place the ball in the bin when picking it up on the last frame. However, picking up the ball in the last frame allows for all the balls to continue rotating during this time, essentially saving time when picking up the next ball. Thus, the player should pick up the first 2 balls in the last possible frame, while picking up the last ball in the first possible frame. This was another time save that could potentially save enough time to beat Bruno's record without the need to reset over and over praying for good RNG. RNG was the deciding factor once runs like this were optimized. But what if I told you that the RNG in this game wasn't actually RNG? Two days after his initial guide, Tobier posted another guide labeled RNG Manipulation, showing the results of his research. This discovery was huge. Tobier figured out that the order of the correct balls can be predicted on the first 3 stages of the game. To put it short, there are 13 patterns in the game, which he labels A1 to A13. As you can see from the chart, there are actually 14 patterns in the cycle. However, the 11th pattern is the same as the 3rd pattern, making it only 13 different patterns. Each pattern takes a different number of frames, which he compiles using a task to perform a perfect run on each. Pattern A7 is the fastest, at 1,554 frames, whereas A6 is the slowest, at 2,404 frames. Every time you complete a stage, the pattern is incremented by 1, so if the first stage is on A1 and you complete it, the next stage will be on A2. He also discovered that by exiting the game, it actually increments the pattern by 5, 10, or 15, depending on when you quit out of the game. If you quit before the first ball is picked, it increments the pattern by 5. If you quit after the first ball is picked, it increments it by 10. And if you quit after the second ball is picked, you increment it by 15. You might be asking, with all this information, what can a practical runner use in a real run? Well, to answer that question, Tobier created data tables to find the most optimal strategies. And at the end of all of his calculations, he found the route. Two minutes and 32 seconds, shaving down Bruno's legendary run by 5 seconds. Bruno's record that had stood for a year had finally been shattered. Tobier's 232 is the collective progress of everything that the Elmo's ABC's community has found from the very beginning. Other runners tried to compete with this run, such as Slimphibian, who is now under the name Winnerbit, achieving a 244, and a new runner named Juho, who tied Bruno's 237. However, no one could come close to beating the new record. Who knew that 4 years after Dugong's 21:26, the run would be shortened by almost 20 minutes? Ever since then, the community has been on another hiatus, just like after Bruno achieved his 237. Will there be new discoveries found in the future? We'll just have to wait and see. This has been the history of Elmo's ABC's Any% World Records. Thanks for watching.